everything that you need to get started in Amazon FBA in 2025. That's what we're gonna be going over in this video. And trust me, if you follow everything that I'm talking about in this video, you should have no problem. Not just getting started, but bringing in a few extra $1,000s per month from the Amazon FBA business. Me breaking it all down. Before we get into that, just a quick introduction. My name is Mark, and on this channel, all we talk about is the things we wish we had 5 years ago when we first got started in the Amazon FBA space. The point of the channel is simple: help you grow and scale your business without making all the mistakes and losing all the money that we did. We've been selling on Amazon since 2020, and we've done over $30 million in sales. So in this space, we are pretty much like grandpas. But I'm gonna be giving you exactly what you need to get started. Let's get into it. So first thing we have to understand is, what is Amazon FBA? So the thing about selling on Amazon is there's two different ways, and you have to understand these two ways. You have FBA and you have FBM. Now these are two sides of the coin, right? And this is just the fulfillment method. So when you are using FBA, like, you probably already shop on Amazon. What do we love on Amazon? The speed, right? We want our products coming as fast as humanly possible. So the thing about selling on Amazon FBA is that's when you're utilizing the Amazon Prime network. Instead of shipping out individual products, what you do is you send all your products into Amazon, and when you get an order, they actually deliver it to the customer. So let's just say I'm in New York and I have 1,000 products to sell. I can choose to go the FBM route, where every time I get an order, I go and ship it out to a customer. I send out 1,000 different items. Now, on the other hand, I can utilize the FBA network, and I take those 1,000 items and I send them in to Amazon FBA fulfillment center around New York. And from there, what does Amazon do? They're like, okay, we might need 30 in Florida, 50 in California, 80 in Texas, 100 in Wisconsin. They know what the demand is, so they move it around so that I can get to the consumer quicker. This is Amazon FBA, and this is why it's beautiful, right? Because things just get to the consumer that much quicker. So what we do is primarily Amazon FBA. We've sold over 700,000 units last year alone. We have 2 guys in our warehouse, right? And what we do is, instead of having all the people it would take to actually fulfill all those orders, we have them prep it, send it into Amazon, and utilize the Amazon FBA Prime network. Okay, now we know what Amazon FBA is, the fulfillment methods. Now we got to talk about different ways to source products, right? The different business models. So there are 4 different business models for selling online. Number 1 is going to be a very popular one, which is called dropshipping. Dropshipping is when you never, ever, ever touch the product at all. And the cool thing about that is you can list something on Amazon, and when you list it on Amazon, what happens? It goes straight from the manufacturer to distributor straight to the customer. Now, dropshipping had a reign in like early 2020 kind of area, but the thing about it is Amazon never really liked dropshipping. Things will get to the customer super late. Sometimes we get broken, it'll be the wrong color, and it'll lead to a very negative customer experience. While dropshipping can work on Amazon, it is not an optimal way because it doesn't really follow their guidelines a lot of the time. You can end up in a lot of trouble when you do dropshipping if it's not done correctly. So for most people getting in, I don't recommend doing dropshipping on Amazon. You can save that for like Shopify and some of the other marketplaces, but for the most part, it's too much red tape on Amazon, in my opinion. Number 2 is going to be retail arbitrage, or online arbitrage, RA and OA. Now, what is this? This is when you go to a retail store like a Target, a Walmart, Nike, Adidas. You scan something, you're like, oh, it sells some more on Amazon. Let me pick up some units and let me go resell it on Amazon. Great model, but in 2025, Amazon is moving more and more away from this model. They're making more and more red tape. They're making it a little harder for you to actually use this model. It's still great when you have a low budget. Like if you have under like $1,500 for inventory, this is where you want to start, but just understand it's a harder model to scale. Let's go back to that number of selling 1,000 units. Think about going to a retail store and buying 1,000 units. Not gonna happen. You're gonna have to go to multiple retail stores, right? And let's just say you're selling 1,000 units, you're making $10 per sale. That's gonna be your 10,000 net profit, but you're shipping and buying 1,000 units from a retail store. It's really an inefficient way to scale a business, but for beginners, it's great, right? Buy from retail stores, resell, it's like flipping. You can make great money. So retail and online arbitrage, the difference is retail is when you walk in the store, online is when you do it online, like you're buying online. So method 3 is private label. Now, I know you heard about this, but people go over to like Alibaba, AliExpress, they create their own brand, their own logo, they get their sample units, they do all of these things, all right? They really create a brand. That's private label. Private label is great. I love the business model. But for most new sellers, I do think think it is, like, there's a burn and an earn period, meaning like there's a period where you're just burning cash before you start earning cash. And in private label, you have to get your samples made, you have to get a logo made, you have to get a website made, you have to actually like buy the full run of products. You're gonna have to spend money on marketing and ads because no one's ever heard of your product before, right? Like, think about it. If I went and released what I had by me, I got some seltzer water. I go and want to make another seltzer water. No one's ever heard of my seltzer water, so I'm not going to be on page 1, right? I'll be on page 10. The next time you're on Amazon, look and see on page 1 where it says sponsored on the listing. Those are people that are paying for that spot. And the thing about paying for that spot is, A, depending on the keyword they're bidding on, like seltzers are probably a very expensive one, or water is very expensive. These clicks can cost a lot. It's called PPC, pay per click. It might cost like $3, $4 a click. It could be $2 a click, it could be $10 a click. And they're gonna get charged no matter if someone buys it or not. So when you get into private label, you gotta understand you're burning a lot before you earn. And you have to make sure you have a good product, because if your product fails, you have one swing at bat. So you not only need a little more capital, right? You're gonna want 5 to 25K at minimum, right? 5K is like the bare minimum. You're gonna want some money ahead of time. You're gonna understand you're not gonna see that capital back for a little bit. That's it. But it's not all bad news. What we do is something called wholesale. Think about it like an online version of a Target or a Walmart, right? We're actually going to buy brands and sell them, ones that people are already looking for. So think about Target or Walmart. Majority of the products you see in there are not ones that they made, right? Walmart, the guy Sam Walter, who was the owner of Walmart, he passed away. He was the richest man on the planet for a decade. Him and his kids off reselling brand name product, right? The richest man on the planet for a decade. I love the wholesale model because you get to leverage these other huge brands. Like, you get to leverage their marketing, all of the work they did to actually make money. And this is how we were able to do majority of our over $30 million in sales. And majority of, we did 12.1 million last year. Majority of it came from this wholesale model. So for most new sellers, I think instead of, reinventing the wheel, creating these unicorn companies, able to leverage something that is already working. That's why we love the wholesale model. And I'll go a little deep into that, but just understand the 4 models, understand FBM versus FBA, because you got to kind of find out which one you want to do, right? That's important. So you figured out if you're doing FBM or FBA, you understand which business model you're going to do. Next thing you got to do is create an account. Now, to create an account, you're going to go to sell.amazon.com. You're going to want a professional account, which is $40 per month, because the individual account, you're not going to be able to sell that many units. Unless you're a really, really small seller. I think the limit is like 50 units or something a month. Then you can do that. It's a little cheaper, but most people are going to sell more than 50 units a month, right? You're here to make money. I'm here to make money. You're going to need a professional account, which is $40 per month. But the things you need before you open an account is you're going to want your LLC or S Corp, your business entity. You're going to want a business bank account, and you're just going to need a license or some form of ID, right? Do you need a LLC or S Corp? No. But should you get it? Absolutely. Especially if you're doing private label or wholesale. These businesses do business with business. So it's a B2B relationship. You're going to want to be protected by your business entity, and you're going to want to have your business entity set up. You can use a website called busy.com. Pretty cheap. You get it set up. I've seen people get it set up for like $250 or so. Relatively cheap. Business bank account is free, obviously, but you need one set up when you open your account. But you definitely want your business entity set up. Unless you're super small and just doing RA, OA, yeah, you can jump in with just an individual account and not need it. But if you're looking to scale, listen, get your S Corp, get your business entity, get your LLC, whichever one, get that done. Go to sell.amazon.com. Whole process, business entity will take you about 5 to 7 days in the US these days. Business bank account is same day that you get your LLC open. And then you should have your ID. And then Amazon, once you sign up for your account, it should take about 24 to 48 hours for them to let you in. And then you're ready to rock. So we got Amazon FBA. We understand the different business models. We created an account. Now what? Now you gotta find different product types to sell. So we're gonna start off with not to sell for a beginner. As a beginner, stay away from these 3 categories. As a beginner, right? Jewelry and what's the other one? Jewelry, electronics, clothing. Why? Return rates are super high. Like electronics, people will get them, break them. Amazon has a great return policy. People will get them, break them. Electronics tend to be more expensive. You get more capital tied up when it comes to these high return rates. Jewelry, people don't know what the jewelry looks like in person. Buy it, they're like, hey, look, the picture look better, send it back. And clothing, very similar. People will buy a small, medium, large. They don't know what size they are. Oh, the large fit, send back the medium and small. High return rates. High return rates ties up your capital. People can sometimes dirty the clothes or break the electronics electronic or wear the jewelry so it's used, it's no longer new, the capital's tied up. And when you're in a refund, you just made that money, now you gotta give it back to Amazon. These have super high return rates, typically over 20% is what we've seen. So I wouldn't recommend these for beginners. Electronics, as you become a more experienced seller, great, do your thing. But clothing and jewelry on Amazon, I personally think they're a nightmare. Sneakers included, shoes included. But what can you sell, right? You know what not to sell, but what can you sell? We like replenishable products, anything that people come back and buy often, right? Because you have repeat customers. You can get in something called a subscribe and save model where they'll come back, buy from you again, and you have repeat customers coming in. We like lower cost products. We like around $20 or less. Because if you have a high return rate or something happens to a batch or something, you have less capital tied up when you start, or as you get bigger, you can take bigger swings at back, buy more expensive products. But one of our biggest losses when we first started was buying a robot that cost us about $120. It had a 50% return rate. So it was an electronic product and it was super expensive. Negative. Bad experience. So I would definitely stay with lower cost products that are replenishable. But more importantly than that, anything sells on Amazon. As you go into doing your product research, you're gonna see everything sells. So just pick a product, pick a category, pick one category, right? One category. Do not get shiny object syndrome. Pick one category, stick with it, make your money in that category, become a category master. Anything sells, these are just preferences, but I would definitely say stay away from these. Okay, after you pick your category, what are you gonna do? You're gonna need to do product analysis. Okay, product analysis is simple. You need right product. I'm gonna go over this. Right price, right quantity, right supplier, okay? This is the checklist, all right? Right product. It has to have, if you're doing wholesale model like us, you're gonna want 3 or more FBA sellers on the listing. Why? Well, that tells you they're allowing for other third-party sellers. There are other sellers that are selling it other than the brand itself, right? 3 or more is a sweet spot. We know there are other third-party sellers. We know we get this product from a supplier or the brand. So you always wanna look for that, right product. And it sells a good amount per month. I had a student and she was looking at a product and she was like, I can't find this product anywhere. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's the problem? And she's like, hey, I'm like, let me see the product. It was a product from literally I think Thailand or something, right? It wasn't even from the US. But on top of that, the product only did $700 per month. How much time are you spending looking for a product that only does $700 per month? It's not worth it. Look for a product that does 10K a month, 20K a month. For us, we look for product. We love brands that do 300K per month or to 3 million per month. We like bigger brands. You could put more money into them and keep working that relationship. So you got to get the right product, right? 3 or more sellers, does enough volume. Whatever your budget is, you can do enough sales on it. And yeah, if you want to learn more about this, make sure the links are below. You can schedule a call with our team or attend our next masterclass. Whatever's live is going to be in the link below. But if you want to work with us, we kind of break down all of this for you. We have guaranteed sales, everything you need to win. Just hit the link below. Schedule a call, come to the masterclass, completely free. Okay, enough pitching. All right, right price. So right price means you have to figure out what your minimum margin is or your minimum ROI. We do margin, so we don't want to make under, right now, $3 per sale, min $3 per sale. And we also want to have at least a 15% margin. You got it. So we figured that out. And the way you can figure this out is you can use an Amazon seller calculator to calculate this information. But if there's 2 tools I would recommend, there's one called Keeper plus ASINs. Keeper is going to give you the price history of a product. ASINs is going to tell you on the page how much you can spend on it as long as you set whatever parameters. So this helps you just speed up your product research process. But Keeper is important because when we do research at minimum $3 and 15% margin, we're not just looking at today's price. We're looking historically for the past usually 9 months. Sometimes we go 12, sometimes we go 6, but usually 9 months. Okay, what's the lowest consistent price in the past 9 months? If the price dropped down for a day, we don't care. But if it stayed at a price for around 2 weeks, we consider that a low price. And we want to do our calculations based on that price, right? Everything else is upside, but we got to make sure we're making our minimum margin of $3 and 15% margin at that low price, or we're not taking it. Super important. Next thing is right quantity. This is how you do that. If something sells, there's 2 ASINs that's going to give you how much sales it does per month estimate. You can divide that by the number of FBA sellers plus yourself. So let's say it does 1,000 sales per month and there are 4 sellers on the listing right now, 4 FBA sellers. If you jump on, you're going to be 5. So you do 1,000 divided by 5 equals 200 sales per month, right? That's how much you can assume that you're going to be able to sell. Now, you do not buy 200 units per month, not yet. You buy a test order. What you assume you could sell out in a week. So we would do 50 units on our test order. Got to get the right quantity, right? We always do a test order first to make sure things sing along how we anticipated. From there, you want to get the right supplier. So right supplier these days are authorized distributors for the brand when you first start off. People that are legit, right? They either the brand has authorized them to sell, or at the very least, if you're not going to do authorized, because you don't always have to, I would recommend brand new using authorized distributors, but we don't always do it because we're more, I guess, more experienced. So I guess we take a little more risk, but at least make sure your supplier is visible on Google with their address. They're Better Business Bureau accredited, right? They contact via email and like have a website, not like some WhatsApp or Telegram funkiness. And Amazon doesn't want to see that. So just make sure they check the boxes for like looking legit, right? Website is good, Google, and preferably BBB, and ideally authorized from the brand. You can ask the brand if they're authorized too. When you're starting off, we've seen this to be the easiest path to success. If you're a more experienced seller, you already know you don't really need that authorized all the time. But in 2025, it's becoming more difficult for new sellers to get able to sell a product. It's called ungated. I'm not gonna go too much into ungating process. To get ungated without authorized distributors. And just to touch on ungating. Ungating is when you have a brand new account, Amazon's not gonna let you sell every brand right away. So what they're gonna wanna see is an invoice from your supplier before they ungate you and allow you to sell that brand. That's super important, right? Remember this if you're watching this video. Get ungated before you buy the product. So get the invoice from your supplier before you buy the product. Like if I'm gonna buy 100 units from a supplier, I'm gonna say, hey, give me the invoice, right? I'm gonna submit that invoice to Amazon. I'm gonna get ungated first, then I'm gonna buy it, because you don't wanna get stuck with inventory you cannot sell. So always make sure you're ungated first, and you can use your supplier invoice to get that done. But authorized distributors, we see an easier time for new sellers get ungated. That's why we really hone in on this. Okay, that is the product analysis. Next, we gotta talk about finding suppliers. Now, there are 5 ways to find suppliers. Let's go over it. Number 1, I think is my personal favorite, is Google. Number 2 is gonna be trade shows plus conventions. Number 3 is what I call retail wholesale. Number 4 is brand. Number 5 is a tool called Smart Scout. All right, let's go into these. Google, hey, it is this simple. You wanna go tool, like let's say you go tool, you pick the category of tools. You can say tool, distributor near me, tool, supplier near me. And it's gonna give you a ton of ones on Google Maps and Google. And you can just go, and once you have everything open, you can start opening an account with them, right? We're gonna talk about outreach after. But Google, one of my favorite tools, you'll have an endless supply of them. It's the #1 tool. You can also use ChatGPT, whatever. Next thing is trade shows and conventions. In your local area, let's say tools, you can put in tool trade show near me or tool convention upcoming, right? You would get creative. Upcoming tool convention near me, right? Conventions are great because you get to meet distributors face to face. Some of the best connections we've made are face-to-face distributor connections. Like I remember we were coming back from Miami one time for Up to No Good, as usual in Miami, and we were flying back to New York, and there's a trade show in Chicago, and we literally went to that trade show, and we were able to lock in $160,000 in deals there, which generated us $50K in profit and paid for the whole trip and some more. Retail wholesale is a game that I like to play where people go to retail stores and they do RA and OA. But I'm like, dude, if you have a little bit of capital, you can go to the owner of the retail store and you can actually say to them, hey, what if I can get this product on repeat from you every month and I can actually continuously buy it if you give it to me at this price and this quantity? They're like, yeah, let's do that, right? Because you got to think about the retail experience. They're actually used to like $400, $100 orders. Now you're coming in saying I can spend $500, $1,000 a month on repeat if you give me this price. You're creating a retail wholesale experience with the negotiation. I love retail wholesale. Quick story. When I first started this method, we were buying a pet product, find a supplier, pet product at a retail store. We're like, okay, cool. We could buy this product, and we were making, I think we spent about, not much, $800 to $1,000 on the product. We're making good money, but it got our foot in the door. We expanded. We said, okay, let's get this whole brand, right? So we got the whole brand. We're now spending about $8K per month. We're making about $2 to $3K in profit per month. That's great, man. That's a nice little bump. But what we do is after we scale horizontally through the whole brand, we scale vertically through the category. And we were able to continue this retail wholesale method to actually find other brands. We even had one product, it was a dog collar. And this one product was making us $19,000 in profit per month. This one single product that we didn't quit branding for anything. And we could literally go to the store, pick it up, go to Chase, pull out cash because they didn't take check. And the people at Chase thought we were selling drugs because we were pulling out so much cash, sometimes like 70 grand. And we would give it to them and we would do the deal right there in the shop. 70 grand deal. We're making $19,000 in profit profit on that. And it was like automatic. And the cool thing about that, even though we primarily do FBA, we're actually doing FBM for this one because it was selling out so quick. We didn't even want to wait to get it to Amazon. So retail wholesale, one of my favorite methods. Now, the last two I'm going to talk about is Brand Direct and Smart Scout. Smart Scout is a tool that if you're selling on Amazon, you got to get. It's a tool created by a guy named Scott Needham, who used to do Amazon wholesale. He actually did about $30 million per year on his business model. He made this tool, and it's like the one-stop shop for Amazon sellers. It is such a powerful tool that they continue to work on. But this tool can give you supplies. It can give you what other sellers are doing, how much each brand is doing, which product from a brand is doing the most, like what other sellers are selling that's bringing them the most money. It's like this complete research tool. One of my favorite freaking tools. I think the low price is like $25 a month. The more expensive version, which you probably need, is around $97 a month. Smart Scout is great. But in 2025, this one is my favorite, asking the brand for new sellers. Because going back to that ungating issue, when you ask a brand, it's great because you don't have to worry about ungating. You get an invoice straight from them. It'll help you on the ungating process tremendously. If you're gonna go to Brand Direct, look for smaller brands. Look for brands that definitely at least do under $1 million a month. Smaller brands, you can get in contact with the decision owner. And if you're using this tool like Smart Scout, you can look up these brands, reach out to these brands, open up accounts for them, do Brand Direct deals, and eventually you can leverage that into something called a brand exclusive, where you can actually become the exclusive seller and pretty much take over all that revenue and a lot of profit. So Brand Direct, probably my favorite in 2024. All right, cool. So I hope this video is helpful. Leave it in the comments if this video is helpful. And don't forget, if you want to sign up for the next live masterclass, go and do that as well. Okay, now we got to talk about contacting suppliers. So here's the tool you're going to need. You're going to want to bulk contact suppliers. So let's say you're in tools again. You're gonna wanna get all of the emails for all of the brands you're looking out for. So you can use a tool called like Hunter.io or Snovio. And that's like a tool, email like sourcing tool, where you go on their website and pull all the emails for you, speeds it up tremendously. But once you have all those emails like on a Google Sheet or an Excel, you wanna group, send it out to them. It's almost the same email. Why? It's gonna save a tremendous amount of time. Imagine you had like 50 people that you could reach out to with one email. How quickly it's gonna be to open new account. Contacting suppliers is mainly done through emails. Sometimes you can do phone calls, but in terms of efficiency, bulk emails using a tool called Gmass, or you could just use regular BCCs on your Gmail account, is you're gonna bulk email them, you're gonna get accounts open, and once you have those accounts open, boom, you hit the ground running. Just start ordering for them, right? You start asking them for their price list, their prices, you send them products you want, and you start doing some business, right? So contacting suppliers, bulk emails, but you can use Hunter.io or Snovio to speed up that process of finding their emails. Pretty simple. All right, going to 8. Negotiation. Try not to negotiate when you first start. This is where I see so many people go wrong, is they come into the deal asking for like 20, 30% discount. And they're not even spending a lot of money. They don't have any rapport built. Like, just chill out. Just wait. Try to make your first order one without discounts. I'm telling you, this is the way to go. Why? Because if you can make an order with no discount, that distributor's gonna love you, right? For the first one. Once you start doing consistent business, then you can say, okay, cool. Like now you can start asking for discounts. You already built the trust. You already built the relationship. Don't go in there swinging the bat, right? On the other side of the coin, if you cannot make an order without a negotiation, try to do as light as possible, right? Don't try to like shoot for the moon. We were taking deals where we were doing up like 7 to 12% margin when we first started. Not a lot of money, but why did we do that? So we could build a relationship. At the end of the day, this is 1,000, 1 million, 1 billion % a relationship business. You don't need that many supplies. You don't need that many brands to win. What we do in this business with about 4 or 5 consistent suppliers. So this is where it comes into play. We don't overburden them. We make sure at both sides of the coin, everyone has to make money. You gotta make sure they're making money, not ask for too much, not give too much either, and build a relationship so when we ask for those discounts, they're more than willing to give it because we've spent so much damn money with them already. But if you have to ask, try to keep your first discount request to 5 to 10%. Nothing more than that. Please don't ask for more than that. You're gonna tarnish your relationship before it even starts. All right, so you got your supplies, you got your product, you understand what to do. Now it's time to actually start placing orders. Now, when it comes to ordering, right, you're gonna create something called a purchase order, which is really simple. It's gonna have just a few details. It's gonna have the product identifier on it. So every company has a different product identifier. It can be something called a UPC code. So like going back to the seltzer water, if you look under any barcode, you're gonna see a bunch of numbers, 12-digit code. That's a UPC code. code. Sometimes they use that, or they use like a product identifier, like beep, some crazy stuff. It's gonna have the product identifier on it, it's gonna have the cost, and it's gonna have the units. And that's really it. When you go to the supplier, you're just telling them what cost you need, what products you need, how much units you're gonna spend, and you can say if you need a discount or not. You're placing that order with a supplier. Now, here's the thing, where I see some people kind of get a little messed up is they're gonna start actually ordering to their house or something like that to try to save money. Now, for ordering, and we can just loop in shipping here, right? You're gonna wanna ship, in my opinion, to something called a prep center. Like, for people that work with us, we almost always, they use our warehouse. I'm here at a warehouse now in the office. They use our warehouse. Why? Because one of the biggest mistakes we ever made in this business, I'm telling you, hands down, was getting a warehouse too early. Getting a warehouse is fixed overhead. You have to learn a skill set that's non-income generating, learning how to actually prep product, drive forklift. I still don't drive forklift, but all this crazy stuff, right? Hiring staff, training staff. Dude, if you came into this business for cash flow, you want money, you want freedom, don't tie yourself down to a location, another job. You can utilize something called a prep center, right? And a prep center's job is to handle the inventory for you. You do not ship directly to FBA centers, you always use a prep center. Imagine if you order those same 1,000 units and some were late, some were broken, like some were the wrong color. Amazon's not gonna let you know for that for like 2 to 3 weeks. And you can't go and have any recourse with your supplier or your brand owner to say, hey, yo, I'm missing 200 units, they're broken, let me get my refund, let me get a replacement. So you always wanna have a prep center touch your items first, because prep centers prep quickly. They check quickly, you should be 48 to 72 hours. They prep quickly for Amazon, they get it in its right working order and send it into Amazon. So you wanna use a prep center, but you wanna make sure you get one that's properly priced. Aim, depending on what state you're in, you wanna aim for one that's like 50 to 70 cents, right? And one that has a tiered system where the more units you give them, the cheaper it get, right? Because as your business grows, you want your cost to go down, making you more profitable. But I would always recommend using a prep center. Like for our students, I think we charge like 55 to 60 cents, something like that, but we handle everything. It frees them up to spend time on what is the most income driving, what brings the most money. I don't know what happened to me just now. So, and that's finding new profitable products to buy. And so always make sure you're using prep centers when you first start off. When you scale up, you're doing a few $100 grand a month. Yeah, you want to go get a warehouse, then it makes sense financially. When you start, prep centers are the way to go. If you have a great month, you pay them a little more. You have a worse month, you pay them a little less, but it's a flexible cost rather than a fixed cost in your business. So this is how you get started in Amazon FBA. I know this was a ton of information. If you have any questions or want clarity on any of these steps, literally just write it in the comments. I will remake a video just on that step. But the point of this was to give you a full rundown. Let's just recap everything we went. What is Amazon FBA, right? FBA versus FBA. All the different models. We're talking about drop shipping, arbitrage, private label, wholesale, how to create your account, what kind of products not to sell, what kind of products to sell, product analysis, what the 4 things you need to look for, right product, right price, right quantity, right supplier, finding suppliers, right? The 5 different ways, Google, trade shows and convention, retail, wholesale, going brand direct, which is probably what's winning right now in 2025 for new sellers, and using that tool Smart Scout. Contact the suppliers, how to go about them with mass emails, right? One-stop shop emails, right? Using tools like Hunter.io or Snowvio to just get all the emails in one place. How to actually negotiate with suppliers, how to contact them, how to order from them using purchase orders, and when shipping to a prep center, letting them handle that workload. You are now ready to go make some freaking money on Amazon. I know you've been thinking about it for a while. Just jump in the game. If you want any help with it, just remember, write in the comments any videos you want us to remake, right? Or like elaborate on, but also in the description, I'm gonna leave a link to if you wanna get on a call with our team to work with us on a one-on-one capacity and help you scale up your business with sales guarantees. We got you. Or if you just wanna attend our next live masterclass, just find out more about this business and how it works. Those links will be right there. So I really hope this helped. Go crush it.